Oh.
Local information that makes a difference. Here's your regional weather.
Cloudy today, a high of 13. Wind chills between 0 and 5 below 0. West-northwest winds 15 to 25 miles an hour. Partly cloudy tonight, 0 degrees. Wind chills between 5 and 15 below 0. And west-northwest winds today at 10 to 20. Tonight at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Friday sunny, a high of 17. Wind chills between 5 and 15 below 0. Friday night clear, lows of 13 degrees. Wind chills between 0 and 5 degrees. Early rain, snow, and sleet on Saturday, changing to rain by later in the afternoon with increasing clouds on Saturday, highs in the mid-30s, and Sunday sunny with a high near 30 degrees again. Right now, it is partly cloudy across central Illinois as we continue through this Thursday. Temperatures in Bloomington, 5 degrees, 5 in Hayworth, 7 in Leroy and Farmer City, 11 in Champaign, 10 in Monticello, 10 in Decatur, 8 in Mount Pulaski, 7 in Lincoln, 10 in Springfield, 3 degrees in Peoria. 8 degrees, partly cloudy in Clinton, west winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour, a wind chill of 7 below 0, 73% humidity, 10 miles of visibility here this morning. Weather anytime is at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your own home without the maintenance. If you're 55 or better, a beautiful Liberty Village villa could be yours. This is Erin, and I invite you to come take a tour of our move-in ready villa. Click the Liberty Village icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Simply the finest.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
WHOW, the Big 1520 AM, 92.3 FM, and 106.5 FM across central Illinois is promoting our great communities again this January. It's the WHOW Hometown Tour, doing our live broadcast with community officials and leaders on Wednesday, January 12th from 9 to 10 in the morning. Listen as we interview local officials and talk about the community pride that Lincoln has when the WHOW Hometown Tour live broadcast airs Wednesday, January 12th from 9 to 10 a.m. This WHOW Hometown Tour stop is brought to you by Peasley Funeral Home. Visit their website at PeasleyFuneralHomes.com. Lincoln Printers. For more information, visit their website at LincolnPrintersInc.com. Carpet House. Go to their website at thecarpethouselincolnil.com. Me Realty. Check out their website at merealty.com for more information.
You and your loved one will love living here at Eagle Ridge Supportive Living in Decatur. Marketing Director Carla Thomas here with some comments from one of our happy residents.
Dennis, how long have you been a resident?
Since April 2019, staff being polite to me.
What's your favorite dish at the dining room?
The chicken pot pies.
Eagle Ridge in Decatur is affordable to everyone. Call me, Carla Thomas, for a tour at 217-872-1282. That's 217-872-1282 and start enjoying supportive living.
Today's morning show can be heard by downloading the free WHOW mobile app in your favorite store.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. My guest on the phone today is Jack Myers. He is with Social Security. Good morning, Jack. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Seth. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good. I was telling you a tale there before we got started. I didn't even get a chance to ask you, how were your holidays? You guys doing all right?
Yep. Everything was great, doing well. So happy to report that.
Good deal. Well, happy New Year, and thanks so much as always for taking time with us on the other side of the new year. And let's dive into, Jack, start things out today. Of course, every year it feels like this is kind of a good way to start the new year, talking about, if you're expecting a child, whether it be imminently, perhaps, this is going to be the year where you bring a new life into the world, and you need to get a Social Security for that new child that you're bringing into this world. Let's talk a little bit about that here this morning, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely, Seth. That is something to be excited about. So congratulations to anybody out there who is expecting. One of the things that you touched on there is that you need to get a Social Security number for your child. And, these days you get that Social Security number pretty much right away when they're born, as opposed to, maybe years ago when you waited until you got into the workforce. There are a lot of reasons why parents need the Social Security number earlier now. Some of those include, if you want to claim them as a dependent on your income tax return, if you want to open a bank account for them, if you want to buy savings bonds, get insurance coverage in some cases, and, if you have to apply for government benefits for them. So as I mentioned, there are a lot of reasons that you'll need that Social Security number pretty much as soon as they're born now. And, doing paperwork to get a Social Security number and visiting an office or sending stuff to an office, gathering documents, that's not really what you want to be messing with when you first bring a newborn baby home. So what I would recommend for everybody is the easiest way to do this is at the hospital when you're applying for the birth certificate. Either they'll give you a form or somebody might just ask you some questions that they use for the birth certificate. During that process, there is an opportunity for you to indicate that you want to also apply for a Social Security number for your baby. And what happens is the hospital will send the info to the state of Illinois for creation of the birth certificate. And once they do that, then they will send that information to us at Social Security so that we can create a Social Security number for your child. So it's a really slick and easy way to take care of that.
Certainly is. It certainly is. And then, of course, Jack, the process, and again, it's, one of those things that when you bring a newborn home, the last thing you're thinking about is that Social Security number or that Social Security card. I mean, there's, you're trying to get used to the ebb and flow of having a new child and sleeping and all of those things. So this is one of those things that kind of is definitely going to fall on the back burner for a lot of people. What happens though after you leave the hospital and they kind of take care of everything? What happens next?
Yeah, so I kind of had visions when you were talking there about you're in just survival mode for those first few weeks for sure.
Yeah.
So if you do that paperwork at the hospital, you say you want the Social Security card. Then what happens is in about 3 to 4 weeks, roughly, that's kind of the time frame right now in Illinois, about 3 to 4 weeks, you'll get the Social Security card in the mail. It's going to be mailed to the address that you gave the hospital. So whatever address you had on record with the hospital is where we will send the Social Security card. If you happen to move in the meantime, the post office will forward the Social Security card as long as you have put in a forwarding order. So you've notified the post office that you're moving and that you'd like your mail forwarded. You should note that that's going to add some additional time. There's some more processing involved there from the Postal Service. So it's going to take a little longer to get there, but they will forward it for you. So that's one of the things that we've noticed, and it's not an across the board all the time type of thing, but every once in a while we've noticed that people have some issues with the cards being delivered. If the child's name does not match somebody's name who's already in the household. So, that's not a terribly uncommon situation. So, you might want to just keep that in mind and maybe put your child's name on your mailbox or notify your local post office that you have a new member of your family who has a different name who's going to be receiving mail. Again, that's not an across-the-board issue, but we have noticed from time to time that people report they didn't get the card in that situation. So just something to keep in mind if that is what you're dealing with.
Haven't heard of that before, Jack, but good advice and appreciate that very much. And so with that said, why would such a young child need a Social Security card? Why can't we just wait, 6 months, whatever, when we've got a flow with the kid and things are back to normal and, all those things? Why do we need this card right away?
Yeah, Seth, that's a good question. And, there are just a lot of reasons now why people need Social Security numbers earlier. In some cases, you're going to have the Social Security number to put the child on your health insurance. So, that's obviously a pretty important thing to get taken care of right away. If you need to apply for any type of government benefits or services for your child, you're likely going to need the Social Security number. If you or a family member wants to buy savings bonds for the child or open a bank account. That's something that family members sometimes like to do when a newborn comes into the world, is, get them off on the right foot and set up some sort of accounts or things like that. And they're going to need an SSN for that. And then, it won't be too long from now, we'll be starting to talk and think a lot about taxes. And, for adding your child to your tax return for claiming them as a dependent, you're going to need that Social Security number as well. So quite a few reasons why you need it early on.
Sure. Very good. Well, anything we missed in that conversation, Jack?
Just one last reminder, the way that it works is when you're doing the application for the birth certificate, you'll either have a box to check to say that you want to apply for the Social Security number, or maybe a hospital staff member will be asking you questions and they'll ask you that question. So, just make sure if you don't hear that question or you don't see that question, that you touch base with a hospital staff member and say, hey, I want to apply for the Social Security number with the birth certificate. How do I do that?
Gotcha. Very good. So keep those things in mind. Jack Myers with Social Security is our guest on the phone here for this morning. Jack, let's jump into representative payees helping manage our Social Security. I know this is a topic we get to, feels like every few months, but never hurts to revisit. What's going on here?
Yeah, Seth, it is something that's important to talk about because, obviously there are millions of people who get monthly Social Security benefits or SSI payments, supplemental security income, that is. And some of them need help managing their money. And so when a person needs help managing their money, we can assign what's called a representative payee to do it. And it's important that people understand what a payee is. A payee receives your monthly benefit, but they must use the money for your current needs because it's your money. Even if it's being sent to a payee on your behalf, it's still yours. But that doesn't mean that they have to just hand the money over, because there has been some sort of determination that you need assistance managing the money. So what their responsibilities are to basically make sure that they use the money to pay for your current needs. That's going to include shelter and food and utilities and stuff like that. And so in order for a person to be selected as payee, they have to apply with us at Social Security. Now, they should be someone who's close to you and someone that you trust and see often. We will determine if you need a payee. A lot of times we're going to ask for help from your doctor. So there's a form we can send to your doctor. If that's not possible, we may have a conversation with you. And then we also have to determine that applicant is a good choice to be your payee. So, we're talking to them, we're asking them some questions about their situation. As I mentioned, it's best that it be a person who's close to you, that you trust and you see often. But if for some reason there isn't a family member or a friend who's well suited to serve as your payee, there are social service agencies, nursing homes, or other organizations that can be representative payees. And, that's kind of common too. So you can always contact us if you disagree with our choice to assign a payee, or if you want a different payee. But in that case, it does help to have a person in mind, somebody that you would like to serve in that role. And then one other thing I'll mention about this, Seth, is this is relatively new within the past few years, you can offer advance input on whom could serve as your payee if the need would arise. So in other words, when you first sign up for benefits and you don't need a payee, if that's the case, there is something called advanced designation, where you could go in and say, down the road, if I should need a payee, I would like my spouse or my children, my oldest child, my middle child, my youngest child, in that order, to serve as my payee. And you could lay that out for us so that if you ever need one in the future, it would be, easier for us to locate and assign a payee for you.
Gotcha. Very good. So keep those things in mind. Anything we missed in that conversation, Jack, before we take a break today?
Well, if you're interested in the advanced designation, you could do that through your My Social Security account at ssa.gov, or you could also just give us a call, and you can find your local office on our online locator at ssa.gov/locator.
Very good. Jack Myers, Social Security, my guest on the phone. Jack, let's take a break. We'll come back with some more on the WHOW Morning Show.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network. Corn opening slightly lower, beans double-digit lower, and wheat starting the day lower. March corn 601 down 1 1/4, May corn down 1 1/2, 601 1/4, and December corn starting the day 551 1/2. That's down 3 1/4. January beans 1370 1/4 down 14. March beans down 13 1/4. 1381 1/2. November beans 1296 3/4 down 7 1/4. March wheat opening 755 1/2 down 5 1/4. May wheat down 6 3/4 758. And July wheat starting today 754 3/4 down 6 1/4. January bean meal 417 even down 710, and January bean oil 58.75. That's down 57 cents. Look at the opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
At Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Baum Motor Company in Farmer City, our job is to help you and solve your transportation needs. This is Scott Baum. Both in Clinton or Farmer City, we'll listen and find options for a different vehicle, or we'll give you repair options to keep that car, truck, or SUV safe and trouble-free so you can continue with your busy schedule. If it has to do with transportation, we're here to help. Visit our full-service team today in Clinton or Farmer City. Baum Chevrolet Buick, right from the start.
Clinton Save-A-Lot owner Dave Jackson here with a supply chain update. While we're working as best we can to keep our shelves stocked with the items you need and want every day, we're experiencing never-before-seen interruptions in product availability and delivery, both through Save-A-Lot and our direct suppliers. In most cases, they can't run their production lines due to the lack of workers, plus a shortage of truck drivers. Despite all that, we're working to keep the meat, produce, and other products you buy in stock and on our shelves every day. Your Clinton Save-A-Lot appreciates your business, and we hope to see you soon.
Tell Amazon Alexa, play WHOW Radio to hear the morning show and all our programming right there on your Amazon Echo.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and my guest on the phone, Jack Myers with Social Security. And Jack, let's talk a little bit about applying for Medicare, even if we are not ready to retire. Talk a little bit about what we need to know here.
Yeah, Seth, we do get a lot of questions about that because, when a person wants to start receiving their Social Security retirement benefits is obviously a very personal choice, and it's going to be different for each individual. But, what we're seeing now is as there becomes a greater disparity between full retirement age and Medicare age at 65, more people are wanting to start the Medicare before they begin collecting their Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
The full retirement age, if you're born between 1943 and 54, is 66. If you're born between 55 and 59, it varies from 66 in 2 months to 66 in 10 months. And then if you were born 1960 or later, it's 67. So there are a variety of different full retirement ages for your monthly retirement benefits. And what I mean by that is that's the point where you could receive your Social Security benefit at your full rate without it being reduced for taking it early.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, that's kind of a target. Doesn't mean it's the best idea. It's just the idea that a lot of people have. And so if that's what you were thinking you wanted to do, you may want to take your Medicare earlier because the Medicare age is still 65. And so you can do that. And people have questions, though. They kind of want to know, well, how do I do that? When should I do it? And so, basically, as you're approaching age 65, a few things that you should know about Medicare enrollment is that if you happen to already be collecting your Social Security retirement benefits, you will automatically be enrolled in Medicare Parts A and B, and you should get your card probably 4 months or so before the month you turn 65.
Mm-hmm.
But you would still need to consider enrolling in a prescription drug plan, which is Part D if you want one, a Medicare supplement, which is often called a Medigap plan, or maybe even a Medicare Advantage plan, which is a different way to get your Medicare coverage. The Part A and B would be complete, but you would need to do and consider those other things. And then, Seth, what you also need to know is if you're not collecting Social Security benefits prior to age 65, you will not automatically be enrolled in Parts A and B. So you would need to apply for Medicare Parts A and B through Social Security. And there are a couple ways to do it. The easiest way is on our website at ssa.gov/benefits/Medicare, or just go to ssa.gov and click on Medicare. You'll find your way there pretty simply. It takes about 10 minutes or so to do that. So it's a very simple application. You will be asked within the application if you're wanting to collect your monthly Social Security benefits or if you just want to take the Medicare. So don't worry, you'll have an opportunity to address that. You could also make a phone call and make a telephone appointment. You can call us at 800-772-1213 to make that appointment. And you probably want to do that, before you turn 65. And about 3 months before you turn 65 is when you want to start looking into getting signed up for Medicare.
Because there is is it a 7-month window to get that started?
Yeah, exactly. There is what's called an initial enrollment period. It is a 7-month window. It starts 3 months before the month you attain age 65, and it includes the month you turn 65 and then extends 3 months beyond. However, what you should know is if you want your coverage to start as early as possible, you need to do the application in the 3 months before the month you turn 65. Because if you get deeper into that enrollment period, there's going to be a little bit of a lag in when the coverage starts. So to get it started as early as possible, you want to do the application in the 3 months before the month you turn 65. That's pretty important there.
And if we don't, Jack, enroll, what is the time frames for enrolling in Part B after that 7 to 10 months there?
Yeah, so there are 3 basic enrollment periods for Medicare Part B. There's that initial one we just talked about. Then there is a general enrollment period every year from January through March. If you miss your initial enrollment period, then you would have the opportunity to sign up in a general enrollment period each year, but the coverage doesn't become effective until the following July. So like if you signed up right now in the general enrollment period, your coverage would start July of 2022, and you are potentially going to look at some penalties on your premiums too. So that's not a great option. I often tell people you should probably take the Part B at 65 unless you are still working or your spouse is still working and you're covered by a group health plan that's based on that active employment. And that kind of transitions me into my third type of an enrollment period, which is something called a special enrollment period. Because if you chose not to take Part B at 65 because either you or your spouse was working and you were covered by the active group health plan, then when you stop working or you lose that insurance or your spouse stops working, you would have an opportunity to sign up under what's called a special enrollment period. So you could get in without a delay. You could get in without penalties. There's one real kind of wrinkle there, though. You don't qualify for a special enrollment period until after your initial enrollment period. So if something's going to be changing with the job or the insurance in the 3 months after you turn 65, you probably just want to go ahead and take it right at 65.
Good advice. Anything we missed there, Jack, before we move along?
One other thing I'll throw out there when it comes to these special enrollment periods, retiree coverage or COBRA coverage, continuation of your insurance that's not based on active employment will not qualify a person for a special enrollment period. So just keep that in mind. Don't bank on your COBRA coverage or your retiree coverage qualifying you for a special enrollment period down the road. You probably want to get into Part B as soon as you stop working if you're in one of those situations.
All right, very good. And again, where do folks go for all that info, Jack?
You can check us out online at ssa.gov. You can also get a lot of info about Medicare at their website, medicare.gov.
Jack, quickly, about a minute left. Talk to us about SSA 1099 statements with tax season here.
Yeah, they're coming. Sometime this month, the SSA 1099s or very beginning of next month will be coming to you in the mail. So, you'll get your record of how much money you received from Social Security last year that you'll need for your taxes. And then maybe we'll talk a little bit next month, but starting next month, you'll be able to get that on your My Social Security account after the start of February.
Sounds good, Jack. And again, where do folks go for all things 1099s and all things Social Security? How about that?
Check us out on our website, ssa.gov. And while you're there, set up an account for yourself, My Social Security, if you haven't already done so.
Jack Meyer, Social Security, is my guest on the phone. Jack, always good to have you, sir. Thanks for doing that with us. Again, Jack Meyer, Social Security, on the phone with us. Network news on the way on the WHOW Morning Show.